No, I'm not dead. I really was hoping to produce more videos throughout the summer, but that really just didn't work out in my favor at all. I think my big flaw and downfall is that I like to spend too much time perfecting everything and making sure everything is perfect, but seeing as I'm just a one-man band, that doesn't really work out so well because then nothing comes out and I can't produce anything. So I'm gonna try to do a quick video on Midjourney for a change. I plan on definitely finishing Subnautica without a doubt, but I just like to take a brief break from it and maybe try this for a quick change. So back in 2023, we saw the emergence of some rather incredible technology that had to do with artificial intelligence, things that you could only dream of watching a sci-fi movie. But we saw text to text with ChatGPT. This is text to image with Midjourney. This is the best AI image generator that I have seen, and I've kind of tried a lot of them, and Midjourney is the best one that I've seen as of yet. So what the thing is with these AI art generators is you just type in a prompt based on what you are envisioning, and then it creates an image that somewhat resembles the prompt that you described. And sometimes they turn out better than others, and sometimes they're incredible, and sometimes it just doesn't turn out. It just kind of really varies, in all truthfulness. Now this is all really incredible, but unfortunately Midjourney is no longer a free application. They had a free trial but have since discontinued it. But I mean, it's got to be well worth it. How much could it possibly cost? Let's see, we're not interested in any limited generations. That's a total joke. You got to go with unlimited generations. So this right here would be the bare minimum, so we'd have to choose this one. You're killing me with these prices. So in order to do unlimited generations, you gotta pay $288 per year. And of course, I already know this, but I've bought 2 years of this so far. I bought a year back in July of 2023, and then I purchased another year for this July. But I'm just gonna show you some of its capabilities. And there are, of course, many videos showcasing this, but I like to make my own videos sometimes. So I'm gonna make several images of 3 different American classic cars to see if the AI recognizes them and if it can produce an accurate picture. If you didn't know, I'm a bit of a car guy, so we'll do 3 different makes, so that way everybody's happy. We'll do a teal kind of turquoise 1957 Chevy Bel Air. We'll do a red 1964 Ford Mustang, and then we'll do a black 1968 Dodge Charger. So that way we got different makes and different colors, and it's a good model, a car for every brand. So that way everybody's happy except for the people who like the Teslas. So you just type in /imagine and then prompt, which you can put forth by simply hitting tab. Then you just type in your prompt. And this is a pretty basic description, but we'll add in some extra details just in case. And then of course I want this on the latest and the best version. I kind of started playing around with this in version 4, and it's since been developed up into version 6.1 here. So you got to do a --V, whatever version you want. Different versions look different. Some of them are arguably better for different instances. And then here's our aspect ratio over here. So once you press enter, then the prompt starts to create a magnificent version of whatever you did. And I always set mine in fast mode because it's eventually gonna expire and be in slow mode. But why would you go the slow mode if you have the fast mode available and you can just use the fast mode and get to the slow mode? But here are some very, very incredible pictures of what looks to be a very, very good looking 57 Bel Air. You can see that the AI really knows what they look like with pretty accurate looking color, and even the back little tail fin designs are accurate as well. Really impressive. The one thing that the AI is faulty with is it can't really produce good wording. This is an issue that I think that they're trying to develop, where if you put in quotation marks and said, I want Chevrolet spelled across the hood right there, then it'd make a shot at it. But even then it's not guaranteed. But we can give it a chance anyways. So here we have a teal turquoise 1957 Chevy Bel Air hardtop coupe. Across the hood is Chevrolet written in cursive gold writing because that's what they had. It has two circular headlights with a chrome front grille, and it has white wall tires and two tail fins in the back. We want V6.1 latest version, and this is, you can really do any aspect ratio, but I'm just using this. Here are the results. As you can see, it gave it a shot and it managed to spell it across the front. Some of these are pretty good looking, but that's just, it looks off, and you can tell it's not an authentic picture just based on the way that it's been done. But no worries, because not everything is going to be perfect with a tool such as this. But this time I'm going to have the car as described, and then at the end of the description of the car that I'd like to see, I'm going to add in a description of a background that I'd like to have behind it, because while the car looks great in some of these kind of almost showroom shots, I want to see it perhaps with some nice green trees and a beautiful cloudy sky overhead. Now we've got a description at the end. The vehicle is parked out in a calm green meadow with lush green oaks across the near horizon. The sky is a beautiful blue with white fluffy clouds. Let's see what that generates. Now I'm liking some of these images that I see right here. Now obviously Chevrolet isn't spelled great across the hood. I mean, it kind of resembles it, but it's clearly not it. But these are beautiful pictures in my book. That is an incredible shot. That almost looks like a painting right there to me. You got this beautiful meadow, these magnificent trees, and it looks like we're almost nearing to kind of a dusky with this kind of orange in the clouds back here. This one is very similar looking. These are coming out very nice. The only problem thus far is that it can't get the words on there properly, which is okay for me, but some people would not like that. And then one of the great things, if you're satisfied with your prompt, but you'd like to maybe have some more options, perhaps 4 isn't enough for you, you can hit this redo button and then you can hit it again, but I'm actually going to spell turquoise right this time. And so that throws some additional options up on the table to choose from. I personally think that this is one of the better looking ones of the ones that I've made so far. And then here's a third batch of 4 to look through. All very nice looking. Now I personally really like this one, so I'm going to upscale it. And from here I can do a number of different things. And I'd like to just vary a specific region of it, which I would like to alter the clouds just a little bit in the background. I'm personally really satisfied with how the car looks, but I'd like to see what kind of other generations are possible with the sky up here. So I'm going to keep the car and keep the meadow, but change the sky all by itself. So now with that, I have these new options to choose from. I think I'm gonna have to go with this option 4 here. So I'm gonna upscale option 4. I'd actually like for the car to be obviously the centerpiece, but not so zoomed in. So I'm gonna zoom out by 2 times. And then this will create 4 more variations to choose from, with the centers all the same and the outside edges all a little bit different. And of course the centers are all the same, but now there are subtle differences in the sky as well as the pasture that the car is sitting in. I think I'm gonna have to go with the beautiful option 2 right here. And then once I have this, then I want to upscale settle, because I don't want it to change anything else after it's already gotten to the image that I want. What this will do is it will put more pixels in the image to make it more intricate and more detailed, even more so than it already is. Here is the finished product. Just really good looking, I think. Of course, the only thing that is wrong with it is that it can't really spell. Other than that, I mean, that's a great looking picture right there, if I do say so myself. I think that we are going to have to add that one to the collection. All right, next up we're going to do a red 1964 Ford Mustang, which was the first year of said car. So here we got a red 64 Mustang, circular headlights, a rectangular black grille, perfected streamlined design, and we want black tires with silver rims. And I use the same version and the same aspect ratio as I did with the 57 Bel Airs. Those are some pretty good looking pictures. I didn't specify whether I wanted a hardtop or a convertible, but that's a pretty good looking one of a convertible, and it can actually kind of spell Ford right on the Mustangs. It couldn't, I don't think it could do a really good job at Chevy to save its life, but pretty good job on some of the Mustang at the center of the grill and spelling of some of the Fords. So here we got another pretty good looking batch of pictures. It looks like it forgot how to spell Ford there, really forgot there, and that looks like a 1964, but it looks like somebody tried to customize it a little bit to make it look a little bit modern as opposed to what it would originally look like. So now I'm gonna put a background behind it, cruising down a small town main street. And whenever you have a car driving down a road, I think it's particularly helpful to mention a driver behind the wheel, because otherwise the AI might forget that we need people to drive vehicles, and therefore the car will be driving down the road all by itself. So we got, for our background, cruising down a small town main street, and there's a driver sitting behind the steering wheel so that the car isn't just miraculously floating down the street all by itself with nobody to steer it. Here are some of our first results. Pretty good looking. We're figuring out how to spell Ford in some of these, but the spacing's off a little bit for this one. This one's great with the position, but the guy's head looks a little big. I do like how the storefronts are organized in the background with the kind of blurring to make it look like it's moving. This one, he's like sitting kind of crooked in the street. I mean, you could argue he's getting out of perhaps a parallel parking, but I like it with him going straight up and down the street. So that rolls out this one. This one would be a potential candidate, I'd say. I'll do two more and see if I get any different results that just really pop out. We'll even put the image looks incredible to encourage it a little bit. Obviously the letters are kind of spaced out incorrectly. This one's pretty good looking though too. This one, I think that'll have to go in the reject pile, unfortunately, and this one as well. But these top two look pretty good. And one of the great things about a motion blurred street in the background is the AI can't really do like signs for businesses and stuff. It's just kind of random gibberish. So if it's speeding past and it can't spell it to begin with, that's just great on its own, because then it doesn't look funky. Like, I like how this is blurred right here as well, because then you don't even have to worry about it looking funky because it's out of focus and nobody would question that. I really liked this number one option. I'd like to see what else it can come up with some variations. Here we have all ones that are kind of in that general style. They're very similar looking, and I'm just very pleased with how these came out on first glance. Here, this one, I think that the letters are spaced very well, but the lines on the street may need some work. We could argue that this is a one-way street. This one, the guy is just entirely driving on the wrong side of the yellow line, and that car looks stretched out a little incorrectly. This one, the lettering for the Chevy, it just wasn't such a big deal, but with the Ford Mustang, I feel like the Ford needs to be spelled right because it's in those big capital silver letters, and you'll be able to tell instantly that it is not looking correct. So I think I'll have to go with this option right here and do just some little subtle edits to it, perhaps. Personally, I think that driver could maybe use some work, although his hand on the wheel looks pretty good there. Inside the car looks great. The steering wheel is on the right side. I know some people like front license plates, but I don't really care for them. And then let's see if we can possibly get it to delete that white line and whatever that is back there. You can manually type in if you want something to be in the area that you edit, but I don't really think that it does such a hot job at that. I think that that's kind of an ineffective method, and I have used this for over a year on and off, and I believe that if you just do some trial and error and you just repeat it a couple times, that will produce a more desirable result than by manually typing in the new item or change that you want into the variations for that region. Right, things are looking promising here. So see, I wanted to get rid of the lines and whatever funky, there was a funky vehicle in the back that didn't look like anything that you'd actually see on the road. And so we got rid of the lines, we got rid of the front license plate in some of these instances, and we got a more realistic looking driver. I think I'll go with this one and get a little different of a driver. This is actually what they look like, this shape for the 64 Mustang. So I think that this is gonna be my pick. The Ford is spelled across here perfect. The Mustang symbol looks great. The car looks great. I think I'm just gonna try to alter this driver a little bit. They look kind of silly. I'm gonna go with number 3 here and just vary the driver all by themselves because everything else looks great, and then I'm gonna upscale it to get a little bit more of the street around the car. We got our new drivers. Pleased with the first two that I see. Better looking than what it originally was. I think number 3 looks the best in my view. Number 3 looks like the best. So we'll upscale number 3. I'll zoom out by 2 times. That's just a great looking picture, and the little main street in the background just about looks perfect as well. And for imagination purposes, we can assume that this is just a one-way street right here since there isn't any paint anywhere. But that's one thing that can kind of throw the images off, is if the text looks absolutely terrible and if the lines on the road don't look realistic whatsoever, then those can really throw off the appeal of the picture, at least in my opinion. Looks like in some of these they're trying to bring back the stripes, which just isn't gonna fly, I don't think. This one I think looks great with the sun kind of reflecting onto the road. It's kind of the golden hour of the evening, as a photographer may call it. This one we've got a white line possibly for bike lane. This one looks good, but I think that the top 2 look better, and this one they're trying to incorporate nasty yellow lines after I just decided that I didn't want that. So it's either 1 or 2 here. It's a mighty tough choice. I'm really fond of this telephone pole leaning into the sunlight in the background, but I think that some of these buildings could use some work. So I'm gonna upscale this and vary this region up here. And really everything else beyond that point looks pretty gosh darn good in my book. So this one I think looks better than the initial one, but I want to give it just one more spin and see if it can come up with a better looking kind of storefront Main Street building than those. I guess I'm just a little picky. Here we got these two, which look like pretty good looking Main Street buildings. I think I'll have to go with option 3 here. Option 3, and then I'll upscale it by 2 times very subtly. So I can already tell it looks like it's just ripped apart all my hard work, and the car is coming directly towards the viewer rather than from the side like I had initially in the image. That's kind of one of the things that irritates me, is whenever you upscale something, it isn't identical to what the picture is. And see, it's kind of it's a similar premises, but now the lettering's all goofed up. We got stripes on we got lines on the road again. We got a different driver again, and it's a completely different angle. I wish that it would just be the same picture every time. I don't like it when it does what this did. Now it looks like it will do what I wanted it to do to begin with, and actually upscale it from the same perspective that we started with. Now if we look at this version of the upscaled thing, we got our lettering right, the horse looks great, the driver looks great. This is the right shape that they actually are. We got a crooked bike lane, but that's about how they look like in real life. And we got some good looking storefronts, or perhaps a little bed and breakfast place along this little main street. So I think that that right there is going to have to be a second keeper. I'm going to do one more, which will be a black 1968 Dodge Charger. It has a strictly rectangular grille with a long and sleek, has black wheels, chrome hubcaps surrounded by a red border, and it has a black top and a red line wrapping over the trunk. Of course, we want the latest and greatest of those and these. And I think that'll put it on kind of a blank background like it did with our Mustangs initially right here, and like it did with our 57 Bel Airs right here. And those look pretty gosh darn good. I think Midjourney knows exactly what a beautiful 1968 Dodge Charger looks like. Those are beauties right there. It knew what I wanted when I was talking about a red border around the wheel. Now, one thing it didn't get right was I wanted some red lines to go over the back fender area here over the trunk, but that's okay because the car looks great no matter what. Some of them aren't ideal and they're not perfect, but when it's AI, it's kind of close enough. Some of these almost kind of look like almost modern art mixed with like vintage car styling with these red squares in the background. I'll do one more just to kind of see what else it produces. This one we're sitting in like somebody's yard in Miami, Florida or something right here. And this is kind of a neat shot. One from the front and one kind of from the back. So now I'm going to, it looks like it's ignoring the red lines over the trunk, but that's okay. I'm bound to happen sooner or later. Now I'm going to put it into an environment which I'm gonna make it a little bit different from what the Bel Air and the Mustang was in. So the car is gonna be speeding through white sands desert, kicking up a cloud of white sand into the air behind it, if we want to get even more specific. And of course, we gotta have, there is a driver behind the wheel, because you can't have cars speeding around without drivers. I mean, this isn't Stephen King's Christine. Now these look pretty gosh darn good. I think they knew exactly what I was seeking whenever I typed that prompt in. Really, they all look pretty gosh darn good, but I think I have to go with option 2 and maybe add a little bit more detail to these dunes. I think the dunes in this one, see with the little particles in the background, I think they look better, but I think the car looks better in this image than it does in this one myself. And then I want to see some variations in the dunes. I don't want a plain white background, but really I think the black car looks great in contrast with kind of the white sands around it. There's actually a park in New Mexico, White Sands National Park, and it's kind of where I got this idea. It's just like exactly like this picture. It's a white canvas, perfect for a very contrasting black car to speed through at a very high speed and kick up sand as though it is prepared to be photographed. And we'll see if we can get a different looking driver while we're at it. That's probably acceptable. And then maybe add a little bit of life to the sky. That sky looks kind of boring, but the car just looks great. Here's kind of what I was looking for. There's some kind of texture and life back there in the sand dunes now in some of these pictures. That's an automatic reject right there. This is a reject. These two are kind of more of what I'm looking for, but I would like there to be a little bit more life in the sky with perhaps some clouds going on. That might make things look a little bit better. We'll go with this first option here. We'll vary the driver again just to see what we can get and request a new sky, but everything on the ground just looks pretty phenomenal. Here we got kind of a background of sand dunes, which is kind of interesting but wasn't what I was looking for. Here we got some cloud life and then it immediately disappears the further you go up in the image, and these two are kind of the same. I'm gonna see if we can yield something a little bit more what I'm looking for with a quick redo. These two bottom ones were kind of getting some more cloud life. I'm liking this one down here a little bit more because there's kind of this beginning of a little mountain range in the background and we got some clouds. So what I'll do is I'll enlarge that and then I'll vary the region, and therefore it'll have some clouds to work with and change up a little bit. These are looking a lot better. Sometimes you have to kind of compromise and be satisfied, but it's not going to be in this case because finally got some nice looking cloud coverage. I got 2, 3, and 4 all to think about. 1 is off the table for this instance. Have to go with this number 3 right here, even though these two look great as well. And everything looks pretty good, but I'm going to try to maybe alter the grill just a touch and see what that brings me back. Now these look great. I wanted to change a little bit about the inside the wheels so that they have the 5 spokes on them that many of them did. But the only problem was I was a little bit finicky with the grill, and now these have become 69 chargers because the 68s didn't look like that. Which means I'm gonna have to give it another shot and hope that it gets rid of that central beam. Not that there's certainly not anything wrong with a 69 Dodge Charger, but we're looking for a 68 Dodge Charger just for this idea here. Alright, now it looks like we got our 3 68s and a 69 Charger here, but that's okay. We only need one of these. I think we're going to have to go with this one. This one right here, I think just turned out great. So that's our 3. I'm gonna zoom out 2 times, pick the best one, and then upscale it. And here we've got really all the backgrounds look gray with these mountains in the backgrounds of sand dunes, and they have this special little growth that I wanted just to add a bit more character. The clouds in the sky look great, and the cars look great. Just everything about these, I think, turned out to be absolutely fantastic. I think that this one right here, number 2, is gonna have to be my pick. Although I love all of them, but I think that the second one came out the best. So I'm going to upscale it and then upscale subtle, and that way it'll just really be top of the game, iconic. And here is my final product for the 1968 black Dodge Charger. I think it turned out looking incredible. We got the black car out in the white sand dunes speeding through. Great contrast. Contrast just really just makes this one pop, I think. And so I think that this one is also going to be a keeper. So with that, this took a little bit longer than I expected, but I just kind of played around with it to see if the AI could recognize certain models of car, which it can, but it can't recognize all of them, which I know from experience and playing around. But I got, as I said in the beginning, I got a good looking AI generation of 57 Chevy, perhaps one of the most classic cars out there. We got 64 Mustang, and to end things off, we got a magnificent 68 Dodge Charger, all with their own unique backgrounds, which I think complement all of them in their own special ways. And so I'd like to do more videos like this. This video turned out to be way longer than expected. I'd like to do more videos like this, maybe something beyond just classic cars, maybe landscapes and buildings and things like that, because you can do a lot of incredible things with this Midjourney AI generation stuff. Obviously it has its limits and it can't do things perfectly, but it's really cool to just sit down and experiment and see what its capabilities are. So with that, I hope that you enjoyed, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.